We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Taj Washington, Miami Dolphins receiver, going over this preseason film just to show why he really earned his roster spot with the Dolphins. Definitely a guy that really went out there and showed out. I loved his ability to beat man coverage, and he earned it so much that they kept an extra receiver spot. They were very good at the receiver position. You didn't know if they were going to keep 5 or 6. Taj balled out since week 1, and that pretty much made their decision very easy. No one, I really think he outperformed all the other guys by a lot. You got to keep him and Eskridge. Like the kind of dog mentality he plays with, pretty good with the ball in his hands. Got some quick twitch to his game. Love the traits. I do think he's someone that can develop and be even he's your wide receiver 6 right now, but he's a guy that I could see end up being like a wide receiver 4 down the line, wide receiver 3 even, guy that gets open and can have. He also is making smart plays out there, but I also think he's one of the depth receivers that I think can consistently beat man coverage, and I think that will be very helpful if the Dolphins do face injuries up top with their top 2 receivers, because a lot of the other guys are very fit in role players that have a defined role, while I think Taj can be a more of a true backup to what Reek and Waddle bring. Obviously not to that level, but can bring at least more of that style out there. Broke down some of this Bear stuff before. Very good plays from Taj. Ability to win at all 3 levels too, I think, is important for his game, especially for sometimes more of those shiftier slot receivers. I think people, kind of put those guys into a specific stereotype with how they play the game, but he's a guy that has the ability to stretch the field as well. Here, running this was the concept that the Dolphins converted with Malik Washington at the start of this game, getting Taj the exact same route where they're in this condensed split, basically almost on top of each other here, and you have him take this arc release to the outside leverage, get this guy over the top, get that inside break, boom, catch the ball, be exactly where the quarterback's expecting you with timing, make the catch in space, almost end up breaking it the whole way, but just being a reliable. So, someone reliable that can get open on a 3rd, 4th down situation and make that catch, that is pretty big. Here's another example of it in the slot, getting open man-to-man coverage on a 3rd and medium situation. Love his ability to sell vertical. I think that's a really big part of Taj's game, just selling vertical and a lot of this stuff. You can see him fire off the ball. The low pad level really sells vertical, and then he's able to make that hard break. You can even see the twitch to get out of it, and you make that throw out there, convert. Very, very nice. Someone that I think he's probably someone in the room that will be inactive, if I had to guess, on on game days for the most part, just because he's not going to really be Eskridge will be active because of special teams prowess, and the other 4 will get their way. But I think eventually injury happens. Taj can actually make an impact as a receiver out there pretty quickly if you give him some work. Also plays with some toughness. Love this. So working on this shallow cross through contact, works through the contact, and then balls out a little bit late, kind of throws him into some difficulty. He makes a catch over the middle field, fully extended hands catcher. He's a very reliable hands catcher, which I think is a big thing for a smaller receiver, that he can be a hands catcher and also take some big hits. He takes a big hit there and stays on his feet, and he's taken multiple big hits in this preseason. There's 3 examples, and the other 2 were just bad throws from Zach. And he just got hit for no reason on those plays, and he got up like it was nothing. So being able to take some punishment, big thing. He's also got a pretty good screen ability. I think he at least showed pretty good feel on screens, working off blocks, I think was pretty nice. That's an underrated part of, something that you need in the Dolphins offense. Is I feel like last year, outside of Malik and Jonnu Smith, all the other guys, and Achan as well, but I was thinking more so receivers, Malik was pretty much the only receiver that I feel found some decent success in the screen game because they had the feel and the vision, and some ability to work through contact. I feel like Taj showed some decent stuff. Not gonna be an elite screen receiver, but can at least pick up the nice 6-7 yard gains, work off his blocks well, and just get to space. So vision, and can at least make a guy miss or 2. We saw that. Willing blocker as well. Here he is. This is a concept Dolphins ran earlier in this game, and Malik Washington had to get out to the safety and kind of cut him off, and Malik actually missed it. Taj gets out there, gets his body in the way. He's not going to be a dominant blocker. He doesn't have that, but he is willing and will do his job, at least to a serviceable level for the most part, and is able to help to spring Ollie. Like Ollie works off the back of him, gets that second level. And if Taj doesn't get this play, that play, run probably goes for a couple less yards. So it's always a nice thing. He got some jet sweep action. You can use him. I think sometimes guys like Taj and Malik, because their size, because they're a little lower on the depth chart, later round picks, they get put into this box as like a gadget type player, and you can use them in a gadget type role. I actually think Malik has more of a gadget type skill set, but they are both well rounded receivers, so they can do this stuff as well. Get the jet sweep action, get those design touches, but they can also run routes, get open versus man, find the soft spots versus zone, make some tough catches as well. Very like that part of their games. Here's Taj again being involved as a run blocker. Throws his body on a defensive end, at least helps Keon Smith get control, and then find the second level defender coming downhill, get off of it, and at least get your body on there to kind of kick him out, and at least help affect the play in a positive way. Love that for Taj. Very good work. Here he is on a screen. Really good job getting out there and getting his body on this corner. And he sells it too. Like his first step is vertical upfield, and his eyes aren't on this DB either to like sell the screen. And then he gets the body on, and then like that affects this DB not to instantly trigger downhill, which then allows the O line to get out there. So like he does a great job. That's a small detailed display. He does the small details correct. He doesn't just instantly run to this corner. If he instantly runs to this DB and like shows that he's blocking, this guy's gonna fly downhill a lot faster and potentially make that play. Allows the O lineman to get there. He also seals his guy and allows Eskridge to pick up a 3rd and long on a screen. Very big play. And here's him setting a pick on the Eskridge touchdown late, only a couple plays later. Get out to 42, set this pick, get in his way, but not like make it an obvious pick too. Rub route where you just run straight into him. You run towards him immediately, and then you work upfield as you're about to run into him, so you're still in your route path, and then he gets taken out of the way. Eskridge gets a free path and now scores and he scored on that play. So lots of big time plays, and even the little details he's doing correctly, and that's how you end up making a squad. So I'm a huge fan of Taj and what he brings, and I think he can be a player for you. Like I think be a good value for what he was, a 7th round pick 2 years ago now. And then we go back to this Bears game. I already broke down some film on this. Good work in his route stem, good efficiency in his break, and then just making a tough catch. Like this ball is such a tough catch for how he caught it too, away from the frame and in like a clutch situation. And then you see his ability after the catch underneath, make a guy miss. Very big play, some twitchiness, and then you can see his ability to stretch the field vertically and get open versus man coverage, and then have Yak downfield too. Catch the ball with his hands. Just, man, big fan of his game, and like he was one I thought they for sure had to keep, because like I said, none of the Dolphins players got claimed. I said that in the stream a few times. I'm like, I don't think any of them will get claimed. And I think one of the only ones I was like, there's 2 players I think they could release and they could get claimed. And that was Taj and I think Zeke Biggers, and they decided to keep them both, and they kept extra bodies in those rooms to do that. So I think that kind of showed that they really valued those players, and I'm excited to see what Taj get some action this year. He's not going to get a ton, being your 6th, 5th receiver on the roster, but any injury happens and he'll probably get out there, get some rotations. I'm excited to see. I feel a lot better about the depth receivers this year and like what they would be actually able to do with some targets, especially with Tua at quarterback. I think he is at least shown that he's pretty comfortable with everyone in that room for the most part, at least more comfortable than guys in the past. We've seen what happens when you're throwing with anticipation to guys you're not comfortable with. It can cause some disaster. So if you guys enjoy the video, like, comment, and subscribe next time.